too late.
Welcome to the Whitetail Advantage podcast with your host, Brett Bovin. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Well, it's not just me as the host. I also got host Johnny the Nitro. We got Broadside Ambush Frank as the host as well. And we got Squatch, the good-looking Squatch Machine, as a host as well. And also, don't forget, Broadside Ambush Frank and Squatch are the hosts of the Frank and Squatch Show. Then you also have Johnny, who's the host of the Mysteries in the Timbers Show. And we're all here together for Whitetail Advantage. So please also make sure to check out their shows every other Tuesday. Johnny's starts at 8:30. Frank and Squatch Show starts at 8. Now that we got all that shit away, fuck your guys' show. We're here for Whitetail Advantage. Anyways, been a beautiful day. It was here in Michigan, at least. It was close to 60, but pretty windy. But it was nice to get outside and feel that fresh air. Even though I hate that hurricane winds like shit. Man, that stuff is annoying, but it was nice. I know Johnny was out. Saw in his video on Instagram, he was out slinging some arrows.
Oh, you better believe it, man.
Yep. There we go. I was out cleaning out my truck with my kids, so that was fun. And,
well, that's only fair because they usually destroy it anyway. So
yeah, I got French fries and everything. Like, dang, I gotta get this thing cleaned out a little bit.
It's even better when they eat an old French fry from McDonald's that's been in there for like 2.5 years and it's still fine.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Listen, every time Squatch comes in my truck, he's always like, "Oh, dude, fucking nice M&Ms, fucking goldfish."
Oh, yeah. You'll never starve in Frank's Dodge.
No.
There's shit everywhere in there.
Well, I also like to point out, again, I want to throw out a big giant right there to Facebook. I mean, again, some reason it doesn't allow us to stream to Facebook because my guess is they simply just don't like Whitetail Advantage and everybody a part of it. So they just don't like people that speak their minds and speak the truth. So a big giant FU to Facebook again. So
that being said, go ahead and follow us on Facebook.
Yeah, go follow us on Facebook. You just feel to watch live.
All the time.
You can watch this on YouTube though. There we go.
Well, it's like the last video I tried to post of the coyote kill with the new thermal. It says copyright, and it's got like two things on there. One was just because the color was changing on the thermal, which I have no idea why that would offend YouTube. And the other one says copyrighted music. And I'm like, I'm downloading the music from a freaking editor. It's already been okayed. Why are you telling me this? So then I got thinking about it, and I'm like, it's not that. It's because I whacked a coyote in the melon at 75 yards with a 223, and they don't like shit like that.
No, they get all offended and butthurt.
On that, you know?
Of course they do.
And simply, I don't give a shit if it offends your feelings. So that goes with basically everything I say. I don't give a shit if it offends you or not. We all have the right to freedom of speech. So I'm all about being polite and stuff like that. But I want to speak my mind. I don't give a shit if it offends your feelings. And again, we're in such a day and age of people being pussies and giving up on things. I mean, you got most people out there just like, oh, I'm not achieving my dreams because of this or that. Shut the fuck up.
Yep.
If you want to chase your dreams, stop making excuses. Actually get down to work, put in the work, the grind, and sweat it out and all the blood, sweat, and tears. Then get to work. Don't complain because you're not where you want to be because of this person or that or whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
Fuck off. I'm going to tell you this. When I was working full-time at my police department, I wanted to go to the police academy. And I wanted to go to this one specifically. It denied me the first time because they said I didn't have the grades enough or I wasn't going to be able to pass the academy. Yeah, so they actually said that I wasn't smart enough to pass that academy. And I went back. I went and finished my diploma. I went to a corrections academy. I'm then now working in the corrections division at the department I'm at. And I said, I'm going to the police academy. And they said, well, which one are you going to? I said, the one here down in Battle Creek. And I said, nope, I'm not going to that one. And they're like, well, which other one can you go to? There's nothing else that works around your schedule. I said, I'm going to burn every PTO hour that I got and do some workday exchanges, whatever the case may be. I have Mondays and Tuesdays off. I'll figure out what I need to do Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And that's what I'm doing for 4 months straight. I was the first one ever I got accepted into the police academy, and I told them my intentions from the get that I plan on working full time and going to the police academy. Come to find out, when I graduated, the director of the academy went up to my dad and he said, I almost didn't accept your son into the academy because I knew what he was going to do, but I'm glad I did it because at one point did he ever complain that with this situation that he's in. I said, there's no point for me to complain about it because I knew exactly what I was getting myself into. And I was the first one ever to do it. Everyone said it was impossible. But I said, I'm going to redefine the word impossible, and I'm going to be the first one. So, anyways, there's my little motivational speech.
My motivational speech is why stand when you can sit, and why sit while you can lay down. Like, just be the laziest way you can possibly be. No, that doesn't go into hunting, Brett. You should change that around,
Yeah.
But yeah, why stand when you can sit, and why sit when you can lay down?
Good point. Well, tonight's show we're going to be talking about preparations, like everything. What title of tonight's show is what really matters before you climb the tree, and it's preparation. It's the discipline, the pressure, the long-term strategy that you're trying to get. It's the mental game in all of this as well. If it is, let's say this. The season isn't won on opening day. It's won long before. And I know I come from a sports background mostly in 7 years in law enforcement. Johnny, I'm sure, can attest to, and I'm just going off of assumption. And before you went on missions, you went months planning something before you went out there and did the mission, correct?
Yeah, you'd have a lot of planning involved, but
yeah.
A lot of the stuff we did was like target would pop up here, we'd go grab them. Yeah, there's all sorts of rehearsals and training and practice, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, heck, look at what was going on with SEAL Team 6. They took all they had was a couple of weeks, and they did everything they can leading up to that. Think of every possible scenario. I mean, heck, if you watch the documentary on Netflix, that they didn't know the structure of what was on the inside of that house. They didn't know how it was designed. So they had engineers come out and be able to build the house. And after they're done with the simulation, the hospital got torn down and moved around into a different type of a layout. So it was something new each and every time. Anyways, the point I'm trying to get with this is preparation. Preparation. You need to plan. If you're just planning on day one, then you're going to lose the game. Hunting is not just a game of, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to go shoot a deer. No, if you want to be successful, you got to go out there and plan months in advance instead of just waiting until the last second. And to start the show off is, what's one thing that you do in the offseason that directly increases your odds of punching a tag? We'll start with Frank.
Yeah, no. I guess for me, basically, so all my preparation starts. Basically, I'll go back from years prior, especially on this one particular piece that I hunt, and I'll just kind of go through all, like all my my trail cam photos first. Try to see, where he was in, let's say, August compared to where he was in October, where he's compared to like in December. That's basically where I'll start. I do bait in my area, so it's a little different for me, I feel like, at times, because the one particular piece that I hunt, it's a working farm. So, they constantly, he hears the four-wheelers. They hear, there's a lot of shit that's constantly going on. So it really doesn't bother them too much that I'm there, because like even Squatch seen it. I could drop him off,
Yep.
and within fucking 4 or 5 minutes, you got deer on top of you. So I guess that one piece, it's not really. I don't really have to worry too much about like the preparation part, because at the same time, I kind of know where he's going. He might change it up. He might change up his trails this time, or he might be on this side of the farm this week and that week. So, I guess like my first thing is, again, like I'll go back to trail cameras, try to find out, where I seen them, each month where he was most of the time.
Mhm.
And then I'll start putting boots on the ground, trying to find his trails where I think he's going. I'll obviously throw out bait to see if he's there. If I see him, then I'm like, okay, like, I know he's coming. Let's say like from the east side or whatever, or the north side. He's coming from this way. He's going here. So, I guess for me, it's like I don't want to say it's not easy, even though when you bait, but I still want to put down as less scent as possible. I don't want him to know I'm there, obviously, but again, if he knows I'm there, it doesn't bother him, because he knows usually they interpret me with food. But like I was telling Squatch on one of our other podcasts, I really don't try to hunt over the bait that much. I might do it a few times, but for the most part, I kind of will try to cut him off. Like I'll hunt like maybe 50, 60 yards away from the bait, whatever it is, to try to cut him off. Because I feel like if I do get on them, shooting them over bait, they're always like a little jumpy. So I kind of hate fucking shooting them over bait. So that's basically like my tactic as far as that. Like I will look for the rubs, and I'll look for all that shit later. But for the most part, I just try to stay scent free, run as many cameras as I can, try to find out, which side of the farm he's at, and, basically his whole core area of what loops he's going to do. And I just kind of go based off of that intel for like the early season, because I know a lot of times, he'll be, on one side of the farm for 2-3 months, and then he's on the other side of the farm for 2-3 months, and occasionally he'll bounce back and forth, but for the most part, I'll just kind of try to stick to like what I know about that place so far,
Mhm.
and I'll just try to stay out of the thickets as much as possible. I try to just get in and get out as fast as I can.
Yeah.
Frank, can I add one thing to your early season that I think you might have
course.
left out?
Of course.
No offense, but I
No,
think
not at all.
you got caught up in the moment. What Frank didn't tell you guys is that in Jersey they have to shoot a doe before they can legally shoot a
This is
buck.
true. Yep.
So he I don't, he might have left that out by accident or whatever. So got to
Yep.
remember, he's got to put a doe down first before he can even shoot a buck. So his preseason schedule is setting himself up to not only know where the bucks are, but where he can get a doe down without disturbing the buck, traffic and everything that's going on. Kind of get that doe, get her down, maybe not in his favorite spot, but
Yep.
get the doe down
100%.
and then go after his buck. So he's saying he baits and stuff, and I have hunted with him, over there and stuff. I mean, the bait is there. Don't get us wrong; it's out, but it's not like he hovers right over the top of it. That's
Yeah.
not really how it works, And they got a lot of bear over there too. So I mean,
Oh yeah,
you got to remember,
it's
as
crazy.
much as he's putting bait out, those things are like a human freaking Electrolux. It just blasts through the woods and suck everything up.
Pretty much. Those fuckers stay there all day, just constantly eating.
I just
so
need to get that out there because it was a
yeah,
little
no,
bit
that was a good point, and I did forget about that. I'm kind of glad that you did, because real quick, like going back to what Squatch was saying. So a lot of times, since I have to shoot my doe first, I'll pick the most random spot where I'm not seeing a buck, I'll just throw out some bait, try to see, okay, like I have 8 those on the bait coming constantly with, maybe a spike or a 4-pointer. That's where I'm going to want to go. Where I've seen those big ones, I will not go in there at all until I'm ready to. So I'm glad you brought that up, Squatch, because I did forget about that.
No,
One
no
thing
worries.
that
We get talking and stuff, and we just sometimes I do it too. Like I skip over something I wanted to tell you.
Yeah, no.
Well, one thing I want to say so I don't forget it. My mom and grandma are actually watching this show right now, so I know I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to leave it there.
Well, if your mom
Yep.
is watching, hello, I've missed you. You're a beautiful soul, and keep watching because we're here. We love having the family in the crowd. That's good. It's really good.
Absolutely.
Another point, besides, I'm not going to get on that topic of earn a buck and $1 because Michigan right now is in the process of possibly going to one of them. It's in discussions right now. Yeah, I think the vote is in April, Johnny. I think or April and May.
So
Yeah, I have my opinion on the one that I want, or I'm just going to leave it there. And that was on another show, but tonight's preparation. Something else I want to say that where'd my note go? There it went. I made sure to put this. Hunting is a preparation sport, not a November hobby.
Yep.
So I mean, yes, we love to hunt and something like that, but at the end of the day, there are type of hunters where they're like, "Oh, I'm just going to go out there and shoot and stuff like that." That's fine, but if you like really want to be successful and you really want to have increase your odds of shooting a deer, then you got to put in the prep work. It's not just something that you can go out there. Oh, la 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 la. I mean, heck, Johnny, I think we talked about this on another show. It's shooting shooting a bow. It's like not like riding a bike. We can't just stop riding it and you'll pick it up later on, or is something like that. You said,
yeah, it's a perishable skill. I mean, you have the guys
Yeah.
that go out October. They'll start shooting their bows end of September, and if that's all you can do, I get it. I mean, it's better than sitting with a crossbow. I mean,
Mhm.
but then you have guys like me and all the other guys on the team. We're always out shooting. I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
if it's decent weather, I'm building arrows. I'm going out shooting. I will probably build the same arrow half a dozen different ways just to see, okay, well, do I like 3 fletch? Do I like 4 fletch? Do I want them cut to 30 inches, 29, 28? What's the difference?
Right.
And I'm just constantly playing with them. And then usually about August is when I finally dialed in my arrow and my setup and what I want to use. And then I start shooting that all the time. And then I shoot them from my primary bow. I shoot them from my backup bow. And I mean, I am constantly shooting. I'm shooting from my tree in the backyard. I'm shooting with all my gear on. And I'm doing that, every day I can up until season. And then as soon as season ends, I'm doing it all over again.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
Now, Johnny, do you practice with your broadheads too? Sorry to interrupt you. I was just curious.
no.
You did.
I do at times. So when I'm shooting my broadheads, I have one bad for them that I can shoot, but typically it's all field point.
I do though. I have one of those like those layered block targets where it's like those foam layered thing, like they compress it down type of thing. And I have one of my broadheads that I have, and it's actually right there. That I shoot that one through that target, and not to ruin my field point only targets. And that allows me to kind of make sure like I'm kind of staying in rhythm with my field point and everything's kind of matching up and staying symmetry and stuff like that. However, I have to take my I had to take my bow back to the shop because I think there's something wrong with the level on that.
There is. So I can fix that for you. It's called a Matthews. You need to go ahead and take that and trade it in. I mean, if you want to downgrade, you can get a PSE.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not.
See, and you say I'm the dick.
Gee, I don't know, Johnny. This is This is a Matthews, and has never let me down all these years.
Yeah,
and,
mine hasn't let me down.
I
Well,
can't
mine
say
either.
much for that fiberglass. I don't know, boat anchor you throw, but
So
you could say whatever you want, but I'll
when
tell
I
you what.
when I first met you, though, Squatch, you were shooting an Elite, if I remember
but
right.
I sold it because it wasn't worth a. It had 60% let off. It was just like a target bow. It wasn't me. So when I picked the Matthews up, I've been shooting Matthews for 25 years. That bow right there was killing deer before your fiberglass piece of shit was even out. So
That's an older Matthews, right?
oh, I forgot this is a family show. Sorry, Grandma. Sorry, Grandma.
What year is that Matthews?
That's probably 2008, 2007.
Yeah. Back when stuff was built decently.
Nah, yeah. Hey, every company's got its quirks and everything, but
Yeah,
I'll tell you, man, for the 25 past years that I've been shooting them, I've had limited, if anything, ever happen with them. They're good bows. Like I said, they had their little screw up with their thin limbs and stuff like that, but I think they got that corrected. I don't know.
That was when they switched to that X, and they were like, I think they were the first ones where they tried putting the cam on like the outside, like on the top of the limb.
Yep.
And I'm surprised they didn't catch earlier, and they only happened until they started releasing to the public.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't matter
for
what
them for
Johnny
trying.
said. It's 3 against 1. Mob rules. We won.
Yep.
Yeah, bitch.
It's all right. I mean, one good thing about Johnny, though, he does shoot warhead arrows. Like, I'm glad he does. So
I will say this: hunting season for Michigan, because I believe it's first light at 7 a.m. hunting hours start for archery season. Is 6 months, 22 days away, 10 hours, 41 minutes away. So
that's when we all know Brett will start sleeping in.
It's 207 days roughly, and we're just gonna bypass what Johnny said and go fuck yourself. And
the reason why is because he's out with the longer hours on the golf course, perfecting his stroke.
Yeah. So Brett's preparation for bow hunting is to get more range time, and by range we mean the golf course and the driving range. You never stressed what range we go to. So I'm like, dude, let's go shoot. I have a range in my backyard. He's like, oh, so do I. It's a little putt-putt course. So
he's got a 3D. He's got a 3D windmill. You don't.
This is true.
I have everything all set up.
Yep.
USDA Forest Service research on controlled deer and elk hunts found that hunting success was strongly linked to effort and scouting. For rifle deer hunters, each additional hour spent outside camp increased odds of success by 26%. And for rifle elk hunters, scouting beforehand increased odds of success by more than 4 times.
That's just
so the more that you spend out there in the woods, the better off you're going to be. So
that's not always true.
The more it's that way you're not like guessing at the last second. You're not reacting to things, but at least that way
you could spend all day in the woods for weeks upon weeks. But if there's no deer there, you're not going to find them. I have put in so many hours on different like sections of woods and never found a rub, a scrape. I haven't found anything. And you're like, all right, quick glance, there's nothing around that the deer want to be there for. So you move on. Now, I've also known other people that will swear 6 years ago they saw 190-inch deer there, and they go back every year, not reading the signs, not knowing anything else, but 7 years ago there's a deer here, and damn it, I'm going to go shoot one. And they'll sit there and not see a single thing. So, yes, spending time in the woods will help you become more successful, but spending time in the right woods will help you be more successful.
Yeah, I agree with you to that.
I agree.
So are we still on the whole thing like before you get in the tree, or do we move on?
No, we're doing that.
No, the whole show is just everything that you want that you got to do before you even get up in the tree before the season starts.
Okay.
So let me run this by you guys. All right.
Yeah.
We're in September. Well, no, let me back it up. We're in middle of August. It's ridiculously hot, 90 plus degrees, 100% humidity. What are you Squatch doing to make sure that, you're set for opening day?
So usually about that time of the year, I take off and I really start looking at the patterns according to what kind of moisture that we have, from the summer. Are we in a drought? Are we okay? Where's the water? I like early on, especially, August, you're saying August, we usually get a heat wave up here in the Northeast. So depending on, the drought situations or whatever, I may shift cameras around. I may put them closer to a water source. I like to see what's coming in to get a drink. It kind of lets me, inventory my bucks that are in the area. It lets me know what's there. Um, the biggest thing though with that, it's one of the hardest times to get out and scout because of your perspiration. Your scent is all over the place. If you have a really mature buck, got to be careful even that early on. You can run him out, make him change his pattern. So I really watch that too in August when I'm out. Like Frank and I had an instance actually over the summer. Buck came in, like jumped back, and he's like, I don't know what I said, what boots did you have on? He's like, my work boots. I'm like, yep. He smelled your track, and we're not really worried about it then because we're figuring, well, the rain's going to wash the scent away. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. But every little bit that you add on to them, it's making it harder for you down the road. So, handle your cameras with like regular rubber gloves, wear rubber boots when you go in the woods, spray yourself down with a good quality scent killer. And just try not to you got a lot of stuff, a lot of greenery around you and everything that you're rubbing up against, but try to get it, away from you the best that you can. Get in, set your cameras up. I like to set them up high so they don't see the flash. They don't see a camera that they can really make out, especially if it's hot. Like I said, in August, I'm going to concentrate on my water sources, my trails in and out of anything like that. If it's a normal summer and it ain't too bad, I'm going to go shift to oaks. I'm going to see what oaks are in, white oaks, red oaks. I'm going to see what the mast of the trees are carrying, how many acorns are hanging, and that's going to tell me where I need to set up early on in that early season. Fortunately, we don't have to do the doe thing in New York. They do have an early doe season here in September, and then the early bear comes in right around after that. But it's mostly food, water, and to and from food and their bedding areas. That's before I even get in the stand. That's what I'm looking at. I'm moving cameras around. Leave cameras out all year, but I'll get a hunch over the summer where I'm seeing movement, and I'll say, okay, I need to concentrate here now for opening day. I got to get ready. After that, you get about, I'd say 2 weeks. You can squeak by, still doing that summer, pattern, that summer run. They start getting into pre-rut. You start getting the end of September and October, and your pre-game has to change again. You have to sit there and you got to say, okay, they're going to shift from this area now. They're not so worried about that acorn falling. Now they're trying to pattern that first hot doe that's getting in there. So I think, if I can give you anybody advice, your preseason stuff, before you even get in a tree, learn your territory, learn your terrain, water sources, bedding areas, transition zones. If you can combine all three of those, you'll have success in the woods early on. But it's not always like, they follow a script. A lot of things can change stuff. You could all of a sudden, okay, I've been on properties where kids start riding four-wheelers around. Okay, now you're putting pressure to an animal that's not used to hearing that in there. Whether they belong in there or not riding around, they just screwed up your whole freaking scenario of how you're going to kill that buck. They could push a deer into nocturnal, mode and just tweak them. Even people just taking a walk through the woods sometimes is enough to screw something up. But biggest things, like I say, early on, water, food, bedding, transition. If you got those, you can figure it out. Keep the wind in your favor, your prevailing wind. Make your setups, get your cameras hung high, and just get in there and do it. It's the best thing I can tell you.
Absolutely. All right, Frank, question for you now.
What's up?
All right, your gear. I know you're a big time saddle hunter as well. What same time frame? It's August. September, end of August, beginning of September. What gear are you ensuring that you have for those early season hunts? And then how are you maintaining that? Like, what are you looking for? What parts would you replace? Stuff like that.
No, that's a good question. So for me, being a saddle hunter, I'll always check I'll always make sure I check my sticks, my paracord ropes. I always will check like my bridge ropes. I mean, I do have a couple like setups. Like I think I have one ladder stand in there. I'll just go check that, make sure the straps are good, and make sure it didn't move, because sometimes even with the trees, they're swaying. You'll have like God forbid you'll have your ratchet strap pop or some shit, something stupid like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, even like on my lock-ons, I mean, I always make sure like I check those fucking cables, because I've heard a lot of bad things happen. Thank God it's never happened to me. But that's kind of why I was like, I wanted to get into saddle hunting, because, I guess like to me, so, the lock-ons and the ladders, they're good for like if I'm rushing and I get out of work. But if I have time, like I'd rather be in a saddle. So, but real quick now, getting back to your question, yeah, man, I'll just make sure everything's good. I'll just double check everything, make sure, I always have like my lineman ropes are good, my bridge ropes are good, and just make sure I have, oh, and it's actually, me and Squatch figured this out last year. I guess the saddle that we're using, it's very like, it's mainly stitched together, right? So me and him were like, he brought that up to me. He's like, "Hey, did you ever notice this?" And I'm just like, I mean, yeah, on the rope. I'm like, I might have glanced at it, but yeah, like I didn't really fucking think of it, But he did bring up a good point. So now, like, I'll make sure like I check all that shit, So, that's basically what I do, but. Yeah, man, I don't know, because I just don't want to get up there and have a close call.
Dude, yeah, that's the worst. Getting up there and be like, "Oh man, this is broke," or like, "Oh man, I should have replaced this rope about 6 months ago."
Yep. I mean, I'm guilty of it. Like I've had tree stands where like I haven't fucking checked, and then like then I'm like, if somebody wants to come out, if somebody wants to come for a hunt or some shit, I'm like, shit, I better go check that and make sure everything's good. Kind of like Squatch. He was coming. I was like, man, I humped that tree stand for probably about a year. I better go replace the straps and everything, because he's a big boy. I don't want him to get up there and be like that fucking broadside ambush, man.
Right? All right, Brett, your turn. You ready, man?
Yeah.
All right. So your equipment, your arrows, your bow, and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing to like? First, I want to know, how often do you replace the strings? Like, is it arrow shots? Is it the just life of the string? You've had it for X amount of years. Is it every season? When do you do maintenance on your bow? And then your arrows as well. Now, are you shooting the exact same, your target arrow that you've been shooting all summer? Well, by shooting all summer, I mean like you usually start in like, end of August.
Right.
And then is that the same arrow that you're using when you're actually out deer hunting?
Well, for maintenance wise, I think you got to go based off I don't think it depends on, because you can go different ways with this, but my best opinion,
I don't want to hear your opinion. I want to hear what you do.
Right. No, yeah. For mine, what I do for my bow is I go off the life expectancy of the strings itself, of what's going on, of how many times I'm shooting the bow with the arrows. So for what might be for somebody that does it every 2 years, I have to do it every year or something like that. So I'm constantly replacing the strings if I have to, based off how they're acting through me practicing and shooting. So I replace them based off of how much I'm shooting the bow, how often I'm shooting throughout the day and stuff like that. Not just like every 2 years, something like that. I'm basing it off of the longevity of what I'm doing that way. And what was the second part of your question?
Maintenance
Oh,
in
the
your
arrow.
bow. Yeah, and your
I
arrows.
no, I generally build. So right now I got about 10 arrows still left. I got 10 arrows right now in my corner. And I got 4 arrows in my quiver. That's my parents. I usually will take 1 arrow to 3 and I'll just beat the shit out of them. And if they're getting me good to a point, then I'm great. And then I'll take the other arrows and I'll shoot them once to make sure that like they're on target. There's nothing wrong with them that's going to be like, well, this arrow, some reason, shooting way more to the left compared to the other one. I try to look for those inconsistencies. If they're all hitting true, then I make a pile of the ones that I want to keep, and those stay in my corner ready for hunting season. Now I just take about 3 to 5 arrows and I just beat the shit out of them through practicing and just annihilate them. Those ones don't go in the quiver. Those ones don't go out into the woods. Those are essentially my practice arrows. And then I have my own set of hunting arrows that I use out in the woods. Now, before I actually go out in the woods, I take at least 3 shots to make sure everything is still on target. And then I go out into the woods and I hunt. And outside of that, no, I have hunting arrows for the season, and then I have my practice arrows. So that's what I do for mine.
Okay. Now, how many, and this question's for all of you guys. How many arrows would you say you shoot, how many arrows do you say you shoot during the summer leading up to opening day? Like on a weekly basis?
I think you should go. For me, can I give you what I
Yeah,
do and what I think?
So, basically what I want to know is how many times do you guys go out and shoot? Like, for instance, after work on a nice day, I go out in the backyard and I'll shoot, a couple dozen arrows just because it's relaxing to me, Not necessarily looking for groups or anything like that. Not all my shooting in the backyard, it's all over the back at times. It's just to go out there, set that anchor, get that muscle memory. So October comes around, I don't have to worry about it. My form is, as good as it's going to get for my age. But like, how many arrows do you shoot a week? And then also for those guys who can't get out there and shoot like I do or like you guys do, when should the final day of my no shit, this is the time I should be shooting before going into season?
So my practice routine might be a little bit different than what you do, obviously, what other people do. But for me, April through about June or July, I'll probably shoot no more than 30 arrows a week. And the reason it's that low is because those arrows that I'm shooting, I'm probably shooting maybe 5 to 10 a day. And those are mainly just to focus on form. I don't give a fuck where they land. I don't give a shit where they go, whatever the case may be. I want to know as soon as I pull up, draw back, anchored everything there good to follow through, and it stays there. And like I'll make sure to emphasize, I'll hold that shit for like 10 seconds after I hit that thumb release. I want to make sure all form is perfect. So that way at that point it just becomes muscle memory. Then I keep doing that through to about June or July. Then June, July to August, then I'm shooting about roughly about the same amount of arrows, but now I'm just trying to make sure I'm dialed in with the little circle targets. Okay. Now from August to September, I have a 3D target. And what I'll do from there is it's a quick rep. So essentially what I'm doing is like sometimes I have my wife help me out, but sometimes I'll just run out to a distance. I have to acquire the distance right away and then be able to shoot and whatnot all within like a couple minutes. Like I gotta be able to move quickly because you guys obviously know there's times we're out there in the woods. You either know the distance because you've ranged it out before, or you've got to pick it up quickly and be able to do all this within a matter of minutes, because in the rut, it's happening quickly. So that's what I do in September. And roughly, I'm doing that probably 10 times a day. I don't like overshooting. I don't like shooting maybe more than 20 arrows a day, because I don't want to necessarily lose. I don't know how I want to phrase it, but like lose momentum. Like I want to make sure that all stays exactly, because in those situations where you have to be fast paced with it, I'm not just kind of going up there and just willy-nilly taking that time where I'm exhausted and just kind of going, I'm exhausted, and you're just firing shots. No, I want everything to be precise.
It's called muscle memory recall.
Yeah.
When your first couple of shots, your muscle memory recall is what you rely on. When you get up in a tree stand, you're fresh, you have a buck come in for the first time, you haven't taken any practice shots, you rely on that muscle memory recall for you to be precise on what you're doing and where you're aiming. Your muscle memory helps. It's like, it's just like when you practice throwing a ball to somebody and you get good at throwing a ball to somebody, that's muscle memory. Same thing with bow and arrows. It's no different.
Yeah. That was a long eccentric answer to your answer there, Johnny, but that's what I do.
Because you took so long, Frank and Squatch now don't get to answer, Brett. So
thanks a lot, Brett.
Yeah. I want to know how you guys do it there in New York and Jersey. Like, Frank, questions to you. Same question.
No. So for me, I'm somewhat off of like kind of what Brett was saying, but for me, I'll shoot probably around like I'll start shooting probably around like April. Actually, like I was shooting, up until like I decided to change all my site and all that bullshit. So now I'm waiting for a new site, but we won't get into that.
Thank God.
But I usually take around like 15 to 20 shots, like right after work or whatever, when I get home, and I'll probably do that usually up until like July. But what I also like to do is I like to shoot at different distances. So like I'll shoot maybe 5 arrows at 20, and then 5 arrows at 40, then go to 30, and then since I use a single pin slider, I'll try to use my pin set up at 20 and try shooting it at like 24, 25 without adjusting it to see like where I'm hitting, and even sometimes like up to 30. So if I have to take a quick shot without, and I don't have time to move it, I kind of have a rough estimate of like where I'm going to hit. I kind of always strive for perfection. So I kind of want it. If I get it in the kill zone most of the time, I'm happy. I don't really focus too much on like getting really, really, really tight groups where like I stack them on each other. Like if I could, like that's great. But as long as I get them where they're not like fucking all over the place, like one shot's in the eye, you know what I'm saying? Like as long as they're like, pretty, within like, 2 inches of each other, like I'm okay with that. I don't want to be shooting all over the place, but so for me, since it starts in September, usually around August, I'll get up in my saddle and I'll practice most of my shots from my saddle. Like I'll kind of stop shooting off the ground. I'll just start taking all kinds of, those hard angle shots on your weak side, strong side. And I'll try like all different techniques of trying to shoot out of the saddle to see, how I'm doing as far as that. So usually around August, like I'm kind of done shooting off the floor. Every now and then I will, but for most part, like I try to, shoot out of the saddle. If I can only get 12 feet or 15, 10, whatever, like, and I'll try to shoot at different heights too, to see if there's a difference in, if I'm hitting higher or lower, so that's usually how I like to do it.
Right on. And Squatch, I know you're all about perfection. I mean, those deer on your wall prove it. So,
I'm just lucky. Lucky.
When the three of us talked about grouping, we want the size of the vitals, nice 7-inch spread, But Squatch, on the other hand, I mean, he's a tack driver.
Yes,
whatever
sir.
he's shooting.
If you guys listen to the Frank and Squat show, my man up above me there is actually the bow tactician. I'm just a storyteller. So I don't know where you get all this crap that like I'm all perfection and everything. I'm just telling stories here.
Well, you do it with such perfection.
But
So-
True.
I'm guilty. You know, I could sugarcoat it and be like one of these pro, you know, fairy people or whoever the hell you're watching out here on these fantasy shows that, you know, they never mess up or they don't do anything. Not saying like, you know, maybe that show necessarily. I just threw a name out there because it's popular, but I really don't, guys. I mean, I don't want to sound pompous or like I'm better than anybody. I've just been doing this for so long. If I'm a person who gets bored very easy with repetition. When it came even to playing songs on the drums, learning when I was a kid, if I sat there and over practiced something or tried to get it down, I couldn't do it. So what I would do is walk away, listen to it, and then go back, and I was able to play it. Well, the same thing's like it transcribes to me with archery. If I push myself too much, I screw up. If I ease into it at my pace and then like I get under the pressure of knowing that season is right around the corner, I work hard and I bring, you know, everything comes back out of the woodwork, the muscle memory, the, you know, your stance, your follow through, all that comes back. I don't really need a lot of time, and I don't mean to sound like, you know, hey, I'm better. It's just something in me. It's the way I'm built that I can pretty much pick up, you know, from where I started from the year before. You know, granted, things happen. Sometimes I might change a site setup. Like this year, I went to the single pin. So you know, what? Not that it took a lot of getting used to it, but I wanted to be, you know, familiar with it and be comfortable with it. And that's the thing with me. Like I look everything over. I grab that bow in the beginning when I get out there, and I'm like, okay, this is tight. That's tight. This hasn't moved. The string looks good. All the pulleys are in place. I know the bow is solid. Okay, let me concentrate, you know, and I'll just start winging arrows out there. I throw maybe, I don't know. I don't sit there and count arrows. I don't have an arrow counter or nothing like that. I'll tell you this, I'll shoot for about 20 minutes. And that's walking, you know, back and forth, taking some couple, you know, maybe a minute, minute and a half break between my 3 or 4 arrows that I throw. And that's enough. And you know, I make it a point before season. I know I'm totally confident I can get out there. I mean, I'll shoot through even like, you know, let's say late August, I'll start. You know, maybe mid August, late August, I start getting the itch to get the bow out and start shooting it, you know, preparing myself for season. I don't sit there. I'm not like a computer. There's some days, there's 3 or 4 days that go by and I'll pick it back up and go back out again. But you know, the most, and you can shoot from the ground all you want. Remember, you got to have a tree stand or your saddle to practice at it because you're shooting that way 90% of the time. That's the way we hunt up here. So I did put the ladder stand up here in the yard and I shot at it at just to make sure everything was copacetic with what I sighted in on the ground. But I'm not one of those, I don't over practice stuff. Like I get bored easy, man. I guess that's the only way I can put it. And all I'm saying is I'm prepared before I go in the woods. If it gets near me, I will kill it. And I have no problem, you know, putting a pin on something and letting it fly. I mean, you know, I'm videoing myself. I have to be a cool cucumber. I have to make a good shot. And, you know, it's just years of that mechanical, you know, I mean, God, like, you know, a lot of you guys, I've been shooting bow since I was like 8 years old. You know, you pick it up, it's like riding a bike. You know, okay, I can pick it up. I can still, I'm right now, if I went outside, I guarantee you I put three in, you know, at least a 20 touching, you know, even cold turkey. But it, you know, and that's not for everybody. I'm not saying do what I do. I'm just telling you what works for me. And I don't sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sit here and go, yeah, I'll get 300 arrows every Tuesday night. You know, nah, that ain't me. For one, I'm just too freaking old. I don't give a shit. But I make sure I'm on. You know, I'm on. I when I get that bow dialed in, and I've sent you guys all know, I've sent you little pictures of the groups or saying, hey, you know, I did this or I did that because we're all trading stuff back and forth. But I am not one of those guys that just like overworks the hell out of it and tries to sit there and do it, because out of repetition and making yourself tired, you also create bad habits. And,
That's where I was trying to go with that. Of why I
yeah,
don't.
I know. And I didn't want to, like, I was going to say something, but I was like, I think people kind of knew what you were getting at anyway. But,
Yeah.
too much repetition creates bad habit because you start getting fatigued. You start trying to, you pull an arrow a little
Overcompensate.
bit and you're playing with your sight. And next thing you know, your sight was on, but you're tired and you moved it, quarter inch to the right. And then you start fresh the next day and you're like, why am I shooting way to the right? So
Mhm.
you guys starting out, you got to know that. But nah, I mean, like I said, I just make sure everything's, I had an oopsie last year.
Oopsie poopsie.
Yeah, an oopsie poopsie. My module on the side of the cam was actually starting to walk itself out a little bit. And I noticed my group was opening up. And I was like, how the hell did I miss that? I looked and I told Frank, I said, that was like three
Yeah.
turns away from being a catastrophe. Because if that screw
Yeah.
let go, and it was right before season too. And I
Yeah.
was like, I said, if that screw let go, dude, I'd have been taking the recurve out because they would have
Man.
destroyed the bow. It would have destroyed the bow. But it was just, you know what? It was tight it was probably like sitting flush when I started out in the beginning of the year. I should have put the Allen keys to it, but I didn't. I was being a lazy ass. And it was okay though. I caught it. Everything's fine. But that's just me. Like I said, don't do what I do. Just do whatever works for you. I only know what works for me, and that's how I've done it for all these years. And I stay fresh. But also, too, another thing I want to add, through the season, you're going into that week and a half. Keep shooting. Keep, if you're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
like come
Yep.
inside, for your morning hunt, walk past your 3D target, let a couple fly, man. Just to
Yep.
check, because you might have bounced something, or
Yep.
I've had that happen. So don't, just because you're in the season, everything's locked down and I'm ready to go, I'm good for the whole. No,
Yep.
shoot during the season too.
Oh, absolutely. All right. So Squatch and Frank, you guys said something. You use a single pin slider.
Yep.
Yep.
Brett, what are you shooting?
The UV slider, the multi-pin one.
Okay. So I shoot, one of my bows is set up with a slider, but my primary hunting bow is a 3-pin fixed.
Mhm.
So, like on our group chats, we talked about it quite a bit about the difference. And I think I'm going to be going away from the slider just because with the 3-pin, I mean, hunting West Michigan or hunting pretty much in the entire Northeast, you're hunting those timbers. And even like when I hunt on a farm, I'm not going to make a 50-yard shot. I mean, I have in the past, but that being said, like 50 is my limit, and I'll start shooting, I'll shoot 40, 50 yards, and I'll just use that 40 pin to know about, okay, I got to aim this high versus it. So what do you guys think the benefits of using your guys' slider? Like, Brett, you have how many different pin is your slider?
There's like, they call it like 3.5. There's 3 officially, but there's like one on the bottom. They call it like the bonus one.
The floater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Like this is like, it's on the frame of the
Oh, okay.
housing. Like it's like on the bottom of it. Yeah, they call it like the bonus sight.
That's the
Or-
bedding deer pin.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
All right. So,
personally like them.
okay. I was just wondering what you guys' thoughts were on them, because I mean,
Oh, I like them because I use my slider in a couple of different ways. If I leave them at 20, 30, and 40, like majority of all hunters do, and I practice at like different yardages after 40, because there's times where, and I won't use a slider. I'll leave it at the 20, 30, 40, and I'll figure out how to adjust my sight based on a deer, based on how far it is after 40 yards. Because that way, there's times where it's happening so quick, and I was able to range them at 45. I know I need to like raise it up or raise it lower based off the 40-yard pin or the 30-yard pin, whichever one I use as like my 0 pin, and go from there. But then I like to be able to slide it so that way I can take my time. If I see a deer at like 50 or 47 and a half, I can take my time, slide it right to 47, and then take my time and pull the execute shot. That's how I like to use my slider shot.
The reason why I switched up, I'm been a mechanic, welder, fabricator, my pretty much existence of walking this earth. My eyes have taken a beating over the years from flash welds and debris from grinding and stuff getting into my eyes. I don't wear glasses. I really don't like them. I probably could use them slightly for some stuff. But I did notice I used to be a 3-pin, solid fixed pin, 3-pin guy, keep it simple. 20, 30, 40, was what I would shoot, practice with. But as I got a little older, I started noticing like I had to concentrate on one or the other. I couldn't have both in my sight plane. So I guess the easiest way to explain that was if I'm looking at 3 pins, I can see the 3 pins, but I can't see the deer beyond the 3 pins. I see an outline or I see a figure, but I'm kind of like, just shooting in the wind, like, okay, center of mass for my middle pin. My other 2 pins are so close because the bow shoots flat. I'm covering. I can't see what I want to hit.
Yeah.
I can't pick that little spot that I want to aim for. And I got through it. Believe me, I suffered with it for a while. I shot plenty of deer with it that way, but I said, I got to stop and maybe I should try the 1 pin. And I reached out to Dave and I asked him, I said, Dave, what do you shoot? And he said, CBE. I said, do you like them? Yep. I said, okay. He said, not only that, great, fantastic service. And he said, try this out. This is what I shoot. And I said, okay, I'll check it out. So I found it. It was relatively inexpensive. I think it was 100 and maybe $30, CBE, single pin. I set it up. Now, the cool thing is, like, you got to sight those from 20 out to 60.
Yep.
I mean, years ago, shooting the 3Ds and stuff when I was really heavy into it, 70, 75 yards we were shooting. I'm like, oh, God, now I got to go out to 60 with this thing. I'm like, I hope I can shoot it. And after a couple shots, I was throwing them right in there. And I'm like, holy cow. I'm like, I haven't shot that damn good in a long time. And it's because I have that single pin inside of there. I'm not concentrating on a bunch of stuff that's busy in front of me. I can just settle down on the target, squeeze it off and let it rip and hit where I got to hit. So it was, a combination of tired eyes, doing that. Now with that bow, the bow is so fast, I don't have to worry, from my, if I set that slider on 20, okay, which is all the way up in the housing, I can go from 10 yards in the tree, and I'm saying in the tree because angles do change stuff up. 10 yards all the way out to 30. I don't have to move my slider. Okay. I may, when I get out to 30, just hold a little high when I squeeze off. But typically, you guys got to remember too, deer will jump a string, so you can still kill them in that little bit of distance that you're off. It's not a big deal. So I don't really worry about it until after 40. And then I do shoot 3D still. I go to some shoots with the gun clubs and stuff like that. It's nice to have the slider. I could say, okay, they got this set up for, a 50-yard shot. I can slide the slider down and just take the shot. So, yeah, I think they got their benefits. They're good. But for me, it was a sight. It was a vision thing. Like I said, my eyes are getting tired. And I like you said, you want to make a quick, clean kill. You don't want any problems. And the deer I shot this year was in the last couple of minutes, a good shooting light, that was legal, that you could still see the deer, but he was, if you had to really cover it up with three pins, you would have had an issue. So I was really, really happy that I went to that single pin because I had no problem putting it on him. It worked fantastic for me.
Asking Dave for his advice, especially at his age and his eyesight, dude, you can't go wrong with that.
Nope.
If you need to see something, that man is the guy to talk to about what type of optic to use. because that dude's got some old eyes.
Well, he's been hunting since fucking saber-toothed tigers were out there, so I'm sure he's gonna know a thing or two or not.
Yeah, no, I mean, even for me, like I used to shoot pins too, and I was telling Squatch, I was like, man, I was like, for me, it always came to something similar with Squatch, where like even when it was 3 pins, like to me, it was clutter, and I couldn't see where I was aiming. And like, all right, I might be okay at home, like shooting it, but when I also found when I would go out into the field, I would catch myself second guessing myself. When that deer came in, that deer could be 25. I'd be okay, he's 25. I'd be like, you know what, maybe he's 30, and I would always like second guess myself. So that's kind of why like I switched to the single pin. And even for the same reason, like I was telling Squatch, like I reached out to Dave too and was like, hey, like I'm thinking about, switching up my sight, this year. He was like, go CBE. I was like, well, the only problem is like I like a vertical sight. Like for some reason, like a horizontal sight, like for some reason, just the pin itself, I can't like I like to see where I'm aiming. So like if it covers up even a little bit of the target, I'm just like, oh shit. Like I kind of like to see where I'm aiming. So he put me on that CBE, and I just ordered it. So I'm waiting for it to come in, and Squatch is going to help me set it up. And it's a vertical pin slider. So I'm really excited to shoot it, and I look forward to trying it out this year on some deer, man.
Oh, dude, I can't wait. Yeah, I have a feeling that this year is going to be pretty decent for all of us.
Yep.
If I can get Brett out to hunt more, it'd be nice.
Hey, I have a whole plan of like, and I was going to actually use this for a talking point for tonight about gear. And how there's a lot of people that think you buy a certain gear and it's going to make you this all of a sudden fabulous fucking hunter. In reality, it doesn't. So a $3,000 piece of gear isn't going to fix a $0 decision. So, but I say this, but I have a couple of things I want to buy. I'm getting a different saddle. I think a 2-panel saddle is the route for me to go. And now with being able to have that 1 year of clusterfuck using my saddle underneath my belt, I learning from you guys what I like, what I don't like so far. I have a whole thing on what I want to get, and I've kind of figured out like I want to try to get this. I want to get this to make sure I have a better overall saddle experience. And I'm excited for it because I'm looking forward to be able to really get out there and public land hunt and do that a little bit more and be able to have Johnny as a good guide service for myself.
All right, here's a question. We've gone over the equipment, what we do to prep for the hunt, what we can do to be successful while we're hunting. But here's the thing that no one really likes to talk about, and I'll be the first one to admit this. That first time you did a deer on the ground during the season and you have to drag its ass out, nothing screams you're more out of shape than dragging a dead deer out of the woods.
True.
So
yeah,
what do you guys do during our off season, we'll call it, to make sure that you're actually staying in shape, or at least, I mean, I know Squatch just fucking brute force would throw a deer out of the woods.
Yeah.
So
he'll chuck that thing 5 miles.
Yeah.
And go,
dude, yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. What I do, I just call Squatch. Hey, I got a deer down. You got this?
Yeah, he'll throw it so high that when it lands, it explodes and wraps itself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's no big deal.
It does all the processing already.
Yeah. But then you have guys like, me, Frank, and Brett who have to like, constantly, I'm not going to say work out, but like maintain the ability to climb up and down trees, especially if you're going to do saddle hunting with a 1-stick like I do. Like that.
Yeah,
I don't know how you do that shit.
That takes skill. Holy crap.
Takes your ass getting into the tree. And then I remember Christmas Eve, I did that. Climbed up 1-stick, got to the tree. You're out of breath. It's cold, but you're sweating. And then it was like 10 minutes later, I had two does come out, and I stuck both of them. Then you're like, well, shit, now you have to get down from the tree. and like, it sucked. But I mean, it's something I'm going to remember forever. But it just shows that, like, not all hunters are disgusting fat bodies that don't work out. Like, you have to be in somewhat shape doing what we do.
Yeah.
And I just want to know what you guys do in order to maintain that physique of professionalism that we all carry.
I run. I think cardio is a very big thing. So I run, and I do a lot of body workouts more now that at 32. I'll be 32 in September. Still young, but I just
You
don't
are
have
not allowed to talk about your age.
That's the fuck I am. My body's been through
You're like,
shit,
I'm
motherfucker.
so old. I'm almost 32.
Nah. Okay, fine. I won't say it, but my body's been through. Anyway, I like to run. I like to do a lot of walking and running, and I believe cardio is a very big thing. And I use a lot of resistance bands, and I have a lot of things I do around the house, like for workouts, for like gym like workouts and stuff like that. So I use a lot of that type of thing. I used to, when I was growing up as a kid and in college, I'd go to the gym and I used to work out that way. Now that I'm getting older, my workouts have changed to more at will, what am I doing type of workouts. So
Like a
around the
functional.
house. And I've got like tires, I'm flipping tires around and shit, chucking those around. So a lot of
Yeah,
that
but
type
those
of thing.
Prius tires you flip are not very heavy. I've seen them.
Hey, 5 pounds might be heavy to me. So heavy is a relative term, okay? So fuck off.
Sure.
What might be heavy to me might not be heavy to you.
Yeah,
man.
my regimen is usually sweating to the oldies with Richard Simmons. I still have that on VHS. I get that regimen going, and then sometimes I might do that stretch band stuff.
It's very
Not
healthy for you.
I'm actually I've been waiting. The snow is getting off the ground here finally. I will start walking like 2 miles at a fast pace. Walking, not running, walking. I'll start walking at a fast pace for like 2 miles. I'll put that on every day, and then I'll usually ruck. Like I'll throw weights in my backpack and stuff and ruck. Just walk fast, get down. It's all different terrain back there too. It's uphill, downhill, flat. Um, I'm heavy right now. I've got to drop some weight. I mean, the winter has not been kind to me, so I have to work on that. And I do want to get some pounds down. I want to get back down around 200 before season. So I'll be working on that. But that's not a right before season thing. And I got the e-bike. I can start riding that around. You can pedal them and stuff. So I do. I got to get back into getting this pounds off. The winter's been hard. I've been eating. So Squatches like to eat, but we like to drink, and that does it too. So I mean, a couple beers every night that puts weight on you. But not for nothing. I mean, for the most part, I get by. I can still hold my own. I'll go up a tree. I'll go right up. I'm still able, but I could be a lot more able. And 3-4 years ago, I was down to 200. I was feeling good. So, it's just time to cut back on the bread a little bit and ease off on a beer or two, and just walk. I'm going to start walking. I got the elliptical inside, but there you go with repetitiveness, and I get bored. So there's hopefully some sheds out in the orchard. I'll bring the dogs with me. We go for a walk every night after work. I'll put them 2 miles in. That worked the last time for me. I was able to shed it pretty good within like 3 or 4 months of just doing that. So that's about it. Strength wise, I mean, I'm still pretty physical with things that I do around the house, firewood, everything like that. So that keeps me strong, and doing stuff and rowing the rowboat around the reservoir for, 5 or 6 hours with 2 people in a boat. You're pushing over 500 and something pounds around. So that keeps your upper body strength strong for shooting bows and climbing up trees and everything. But walking in the mountains does get to me, boys. I won't lie. Especially if you got a 180-pound buck behind you, and you can go in spurts. Like I'll go like a bull for 30, 40 yards and stop and catch my breath, and I'll go another 30, 40 yards and stop. But I still get them out. I get them out no matter what. But around here, it's pretty. I'm spoiled. I can just take the Wolverine back there to back home and flip them into the bucket and bring them home. So But
No.
yeah, no, definitely got to knuckle down. I got to get some pounds off.
And
Yep.
what about
me too.
the situation? We know you're all about the GTL.
Yep. No, even me. You know, I could probably definitely lift more, but I don't. But I probably should this year. It should probably be my goal. But I'll just every night when we get home from work, sometimes I'll take the wife wants to get out of the house or she wants to go to the park or walk around here or take the kids out and my son keeps me pretty active. He always wants to play like soccer and football and like to the point after like 10 minutes I feel like dying. I just want to fall on the floor and I'm like, we're done. Let's go do something else, but I definitely try to walk as much as I can. I know I could be better at it, but I should probably do that. But if anything ever gets too hard, almost like Squatch are saying, I'm spoiled. I also got a 4-wheeler and shit. I could go just say fuck it and cheat a little bit, but I know I probably shouldn't. But
dude,
that's basically what I do.
If you have it, you might as well use it, dude. Because if I had a 4-wheeler, I'd be doing the same exact stuff.
Yep.
Brett, what do you got for us, brother?
I don't have anything. I'm pretty much just all set.
Dude, you need to keep that voice on the entire time now.
Yeah, why didn't we start with that shit?
Yep. All right, so now we're now getting into part 2 of our new 2-hour episode. So Brett. All right.
Yeah.
Brett.
Now
you're keep the voice on, okay?
Okay, I turn it back on.
All right. So it's now you've worked up all season. You've had a shit early season, but you've been out. God forbid you woke up early and actually were out in the woods, and now you're out there hunting, and you haven't seen anything, right? So you're getting defeated. Now you're up in a tree. You're in your 2-panel saddle, which we'll just call it a 2-panel saddle. You're comfortable. You've put in all the hard work. You're up there. Now, what are you doing to keep focused on the hunt? I just said that because I want to hear you tell a long story in that voice. That's basically it. I could really care less. I just want to hear you talk. Actually, you know what? No, I stand corrected with that question. I want to ask you this question, okay?
Okay.
On 9/11,
God.
where were you? And what do you remember about that horrific American historical day? I mean, it's not a laughing matter, Brett. I deployed to fight for this country after 9/11, and you're sitting here laughing like it's some joke. So tell us.
Were you even
What do you
born yet?
remember?
I was in 3rd or 4th grade. I can't remember, but it was 3rd or 4th grade. And I was sitting in class. We were getting ready for the DARE program. And we had officers come in and every class had like a TV in the rooms and it would do the school announcement through it. But they actually had access to live TV and they showed the news for 9/11. I didn't know what was actually going on, but I just saw towers falling down.
Good God. Okay. We just may have disgraced some people doing that, and I'm sorry. But my God.
Wow.
That was pretty good. No, I just wanted to hear
You
it.
should see fucking Frank. His face is all red.
It don't take much to get him going. Believe me.
Way to
I'm
take an
crying
American
right now.
tragedy and everyone just laugh about it. Good God. That's horrible.
I think we're at the point where it can become funny, but I don't know. Look at him. Look at him.
Oh man!
Oh God!
All right,
Oh.
so we'll just wrap up the show tonight, guys. It's been an amazing time.
It has. It has.
Great show. We'll come up with some more serious questions for Brett's voice, his newfound voice. But
I got a couple other ones too.
Wait a minute. I think that's his regular voice. The other
it
one
is.
dub over.
It has to be. It has to be.
I got a couple other ones, but this one's my favorite.
All right. So, Frank,
Yes, sir.
besides the rare occurrence when you show up on here, where else can people find you at?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram, Broadside Ambush, Frank and Squat Show. Here, when I do show up, make my big debut. And on Boondocks Hunting and Garden State Outdoorsman Podcast.
Squatch, where can everyone find you?
They ought to know by now. But
All right, on that note.
do check us out on Tuesday, like every other Tuesday night on the Frank and Squat Show. Besides with that goofball Mike Nitrate that I usually help out, and whoever the hell else wants to have me on their show. I think Rosie O'Donnell's looking for a new guest, so I don't know. We'll see.
If you ever get a chance to be on Rosie's show, I will send you a bat.
All right.
And you use that. And just like a baby seal, just clubber.
I think it probably bounce back and hurt me more.
It probably would, man.
Yeah.
I always get her and Roseanne mixed together. I always think that they're like the
That
same
sounds like
person.
two complete ends of the spectrum right there.
I'm a fan of
that
Roseanne.
spectrum, the broad spectrum. So.
That's on the broad spectrum there.
It's on the broad spectrum of Brett.
Oh, man.
So I'm pretty sure tonight we have lost every single demographic that we've ever worked so hard to acquire.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
Brett,
I lost 3 viewers just sitting here, just showing
Yep.
up.
yeah, I now owe someone a view. So
Yep.
According to negatives.
yeah. Brett, you have anything for our closing moments?
No. It's been a fun night, and again, just make sure to check out Frank and Squat Show every other Tuesday at 8:00, and Mysteries in the Timbers at every other Tuesday as well at 8:30. The next show to come up is Johnny's show on Tuesday, the 11th, I believe. No, 10th. The 10th. Tuesday the 10th.
Something like that.
And then next week's show, it's going to be our first one of the year, our first trivia show, our first trivia night show. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of clustered questions, not just all whitetail deer, a lot of fish ones, camping. There's going to be a lot of variety of different questions. There are going to be 20 questions, and there's 5 bonus round questions. I haven't figured out the name I want to call it yet, but it's going to be like a rapid fire bonus
The
segment.
Bovin bonus. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I think you should do the trivia in that voice.
You want me to do
Definitely.
trivia this way?
Yeah.
Okay. Johnny, close it out. I got nothing else. I'm fucking done. I'm sorry. It's been a day.
On that note, we'll just end it, man. Because that voice is killing it. One time though, one big shout out to Nelson and Matt from Flavors of the Forest. They're on here watching. If you haven't got their stuff yet and tried it, do it. It's amazing. It goes great on wild game, goes great on fish. I know Squatch, you cook with it a lot. Frank, you probably have your wife cook with it a lot.
I sure do.
And
What are you trying to say, Frank? You can't cook?
No,
I
I'm
didn't say I
saying,
can't. I just said I won't.
and as soon as Nelson and Matt can come up with a maple flavored syrup powder, I know Brett would use it on his pancakes in the morning.
Fuck yeah, I would. I'm more of a waffle guy, though.
Fuck it, I don't care what you put it on. Just put it on something, make a video, post it.
I just got the whole elf thing with him. Syrup! Like I could just see him doing that. Putting it on spaghetti.
I now want a picture. I need a holiday picture of Brett in a tree dressed as Buddy the Elf.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
that voice. Like,
Yep.
flawless.
I'll figure something out. I'll do that.
All right. On that note, I'm ending it.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Whitetail Advantage podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.